Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Chet Chats. Today, I'm going to be discussing the intersection of the Fifth Amendment takings clause on the ongoing quarantine and economic shutdown that is going on across the country. Now, let me start off by saying there's a lot of focus right now on masks, mask requirements. A lot of people are talking about that. And I kind of want to distinguish mask requirements from a shutdown or a quarantine. And this is going to segue into the legal analysis, but I'm going to start off with just my opinion. In my opinion, the mask requirements are not nearly as offensive and harmful as the shutdown, or requiring that businesses close, or requiring businesses only conduct business at, say, 33 or 50% capacity, or that sort of thing. And here's why. So the mask requirement, as I've discussed in other videos, is perfectly constitutional for the state government. It is a proper exercise of the government's police powers to regulate for the health and welfare of its citizens. Arguably, the mask requirements do nothing other than a slight inconvenience to us as citizens. I've thought about it. I don't see it as, necessarily taking away any other rights. And although I don't like it, I'm not a fan of it. I don't think that the mask requirement is really having any kind of deleterious effect on the economy. It's certainly not hurting people. The claims that the mask cause you to breathe in too much CO2 and all that sort of thing, I think that's been debunked by most reputable scientists and doctors. The quarantine, though, the requiring that businesses shut down, just requiring that businesses operate at less capacity, making it difficult for small businesses to thrive, and then the incumbent essentially crash the economy, resulting in a lot of people not being able to work, a lot of people not being able to find jobs. That's extremely harmful. Okay, that poses its own public health concern. We've seen that levels of depression are up, alcohol use is up, domestic violence, sexual assault, things like that are up. Anytime you take them away from their job, tell them they got to stay home, they can't go out, people start feeling in despair, substance abuse is going to rise. Just health is going to decline overall, and we're seeing that. Now, where does this intersect with the law? Well, there could come a point where requiring that businesses shut down or operate at substantially reduced levels, which are basically commercially, unviable, could constitute a taking under the Fifth Amendment. What do I mean by that? The Fifth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, among other things, says that the government can't take private property without just compensation. Where we see this most commonly is in eminent domain. Government comes in, decides to purchase your house because they want to expand the road, and they got to pay you for it. A more complicated area of the takings clause jurisprudence is regulatory takings and what's called inverse condemnation. And this is where the government essentially regulates the use of your property to the point where that property has no commercial viability. Historically, the courts have said that a person will not be entitled to compensation through just regulations for health and welfare. But there was a 1922 Supreme Court case where one of the justices did say that there can come a point where the regulation can essentially be so burdensome and so onerous that we would recognize a taking as having occurred. This is kind of theoretical. I'm not saying that this is a plaintiff would definitely have a great cause of action, but there comes a point where, and I think it would be interesting if people started bringing these lawsuits, where if a particular business was just simply unable to function under the shutdown requirements, they could potentially have a lawsuit against the government for a regulatory taking. And that would be interesting to see how that plays out. But they're just because the government is not literally taking your property and transferring title to someone else, if they regulate it to the point of extinction, where that property has no commercial viability, that's a problem, and that's something that could be brought up. So, interested to hear about y'all's thoughts. Like I said, please like, share, subscribe. I just like to, kind of bring these different perspectives on things, get people thinking about things in a different way. Hope you guys like it. Hope you find it at least educational. Thanks.